Hey, welcome to the Dropship Podcast. And today we're going to answer a question John and I get all the time. Is dropshipping too competitive? I wrote no as our only notes for this episode, John. So if you just want to say no as well, we can wrap it up here. Man, we get this question so often. And I told you I had a point that I was going to mention on the show. I think the big one for me is like you mentioned like some industries maybe, right? Like maybe, we've talked about e-bikes. We've mentioned 4 or 5 niches before on past episodes. Don't get into these. I think one of the things that pops up, so my in-laws were interested in starting this business model. So I gave them our course. I hope you don't mind, John. I don't think I ever even told you that. Hi, in-laws, if you're listening. And I asked them, what ideas have you come up with? They had gotten to that phase. And they said the same ideas that every student of our course of all time has ever said. And I think that's where the competitive thing comes from, is that the majority of people go that first layer deep and they all think of the same things. And rightfully so. Those products that people mention are kind of everywhere. And so it's normal for you to have those as your first thoughts, your first part of your list. Those maybe are too competitive. There's certainly some things that we've talked about in the past, standing desk, e-bikes, things like that are too competitive. But man, we have students who come in every day and say, I'm working on this. And I've literally never even heard of these products. And so like there's opportunity everywhere. I think that might be what needs to happen, is get past that first layer of ideas that everyone's thought of, that you're going to think of right away. And you're going to go look and there's tons of people selling them and you're going to be like, oh, this doesn't work. But I think if you go a second, third, fourth layer deep, get into those like passionate small communities and really expand your brain, there's opportunity everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's true. There are some ideas that just kind of pop up. But I also think this question comes up for people almost because it's an easy reason not to get started as well. Like, you'd be like, yeah, I want to start a business and I've come across drop shipping it. And there's no reason I shouldn't start, right? But we talked about this in a recent episode. What's really fear of failure? Sometimes fear of success is the thing as well. Like, there's no reason I shouldn't start. It costs very little money to start a dropshipping business. I can see how to do it. I've got these guys telling me how to do it on this podcast. Like, literally, people have started dropshipping businesses just listening to our podcast and made sales, not even buying our course or anything like that. So there is no reason for me not to start. Now, I want to do it, but I'm really scared. I'm fearful of it. So I'm going to throw up the barrier of, oh, it's too competitive, or, oh, there'll be some other reason and I'm not going to do it. And I think also people just make the assumption that because so many people online talk about dropshipping, that it must, like, every dropshipper is competing against the other dropshipper or something like that. And like, because it's so popular, it must just be too competitive. And they don't go any deeper than that and actually think about that. Like, there are literally millions and millions of different types of products on sale in almost any largish country, right? Like, millions of products on sale. How is it possible that all of those products could be too competitive just because people talk about dropshipping? Like, the difference between people, the other thing as well, the difference between people talking about dropshipping and the amount of people who actually get started is massive, right? And so I get this question a lot, and as you know, I do all of the market verifications and for our students. Like, when a student has this is the niche I want to go into, they send it into us and we check it for them and we say, yep, that's a good idea, you should do that. It ticks the boxes. One of our market selection or niche selection criteria is the niche too competitive? People actually have to go and look at that. Is it too competitive? How many sellers are there? Who's selling? Et cetera. And I got to say, I mean, I've been doing that for years now. And like I said, there's a few that stand out where if somebody sent them in and said, I want to do this, I'd be like, no, that's too competitive. That's one of the ones that's too competitive. Let's move further into your list and see if you've got some other ideas there, right? But across the board, I literally don't think competition is significantly different to what it was 5 years ago. And I'm only talking about high-ticket dropshipping and niches that people look into there. I'm not talking about like low-ticket products or D2C products or anything like that. I'm just talking about the niches that people come up with and send into us. The needle is not moving significantly. You know what I mean? And sure, that I'm not saying that in those niches, no new businesses have opened in the last 5 years, but you have to think of it like markets get bigger, sellers come and go for a variety of reasons. So it's not like in any particular niche, it stays the same size, as in there's always the same size of same amount of customers, and every year there's just more and more people in there selling. Like that's not actually how business works. Markets get bigger, sometimes they get smaller, and businesses don't stay open forever. Do you know what I mean? Like some businesses go bust, some businesses sell, some businesses, change and move sideways into a different niche. Like all sorts of things can happen. And so any one niche is never static in nature, right? Like as in for some of those points. So yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see it. And maybe that sounds counterintuitive to people, but the opportunity on this perspective, like across all of the high ticket dropshipping niches you could do, I mean, it's still very good. And competition is not a significant reason not to get started.
Even when I see people who have quote unquote competition, right? So first off, a lot of it is big box stores or Amazon sometimes. And again, they only carry one or two usually. They don't carry the whole line of things, right? And if you're serving enthusiast market, they don't necessarily want the one at Lowe's or Home Depot. They want the cooler version that you can't get there. But those places aren't helping. They're not doing anything to serve the customer. And I would hazard to say, even the other people who kind of look like you want to look like in an e-commerce store, they're not really serving them either. So the idea that you can just throw up a product page and make some sales, maybe you could run some ads and maybe make some sales, but like you have to differentiate yourself. You actually have to help the customer. You have to have a good offer, as John likes to say, and you have to like serve them, right? Whether that's answering your phone or creating content or all of the above, there are ways to actually help the customer that Amazon, big box stores, and really a lot of the other people you see online aren't doing. And so, I don't know, I tend to come into it to a view of like, there is no such thing as competition. Now, there are some industries that'll just blow that out of the water and like it's hard to ignore. But for the most part, like I haven't seen someone get into an industry where there's not an angle. There's not a way that they can make themselves successful and really help the customer that all their businesses just aren't doing. I hate the word competition, if I'm honest with you, John. It just doesn't deter me most of the time.
No, and it's one of the things I like about high ticket dropshipping as well. Among the very long list of things I like about high ticket dropshipping is just the nature of the product. And we talked about it in a recent episode where we talked about biggest sales. And we talked about like those often come about because you really, through the process of really helping the customer, like they choose to place that big order with you. The nature of high ticket products being more expensive, oftentimes there's more to the product. It might need to be a product that needs installation. It might be a more complicated or technical product or something like that. Just inherently in that means that customers are going to be looking for more information about those products. They're going to have more questions about those products. They're possibly going to want to be more likely to want to have communication with a human a lot of the time about those products before they lay down $5,000, $6,000, $3,000, something like that, as compared to like a $30 product where people are going to go, yeah, I got some questions, but it's $30. Who gives a shit? Essentially, right? I mean, if it doesn't work out, I don't lose anything here. I'm not losing anything. I might be disappointed, but I'm not losing anything. When somebody's buying a $5,000 product, they don't think that. They don't go, if it's crap, like I'll just lose $5,000. That'll be awesome. I don't really care. Nobody thinks that, right? Oh, well, most people don't think that. And so that means that there is a real opportunity, as you said, to really serve your customers and do that in your own way. And still, at this point in time, most businesses won't do that. Like you say, like Amazon sells, like Amazon comes up a lot for people. And I get it. Everybody knows Amazon's the world's biggest e-commerce retailer. They take up a massive percentage of the total online sales made in countries like the US or Australia or something like that. But the reality with Amazon is they sell a lot of stuff, right? They don't sell any one thing very well. Like they don't have an employee sitting in Amazon who is dedicated just to selling like, I don't know, like this particular make and model of ice machine. And they're putting their whole life into doing that. right? And they're building out a whole thing about how they can sell that better for Amazon. That's not how Amazon works, right? And so the good thing about high ticket products is that because they're not kind of commoditized in the same way that low ticket products often are, like Amazon does well on commoditized products. Like if I want a cable like this to go on, my microphone or something like that, I'm probably going to buy it off Amazon because let's be honest, there's a ton of these. They're all pretty much the same. I don't really care about it. I'm not like that much of an audio nerd that it doesn't make a difference, right? I'm just going to buy it on Amazon, right? But like if I was buying like a $10,000 sound setup, I'm not buying that on Amazon because I need to know a lot more before I do that. And there is nobody at Amazon that's going to help me. And now I might be able to buy it on Amazon, sure, but I'm not going to. And so I think that's kind of your superpower as a high ticket dropshipping business when you're like competing with those bigger stores, is that the experience that you can give somebody through the customer journey is like light years ahead of what Amazon can do. And yeah, you could say, well, they've got Prime and I can't ship things that fast. High ticket customers, majority of the time, don't care about that. They're not buying it because they need it tomorrow. It's a significant investment. If they get it in a week, that's fine, right? So that's not really part of it. And so when we do niche selection here and we talk about big box stores, your Amazons, your eBays, Walmart, maybe, like insert big box store name, we actually don't even count them as a complete competitor. Like if we're doing a numbers thing, it's like they're like half a competitor or less. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of with you in that the longer I do this, the less, in some ways, the less worried I am about competition, because I just know that when somebody goes through and does all the things that all the parts of the business and the marketing strategy and the growth strategies that we talk about, like, you will have so few competitors that actually do that stuff that it almost doesn't matter. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but it almost doesn't matter.
Well, I certainly don't give a shit about Amazon. Like,
No.
If I'm selling a lower dollar product, yeah, but being a seller on Amazon, I know how much it sucks that anyone can return anything for any reason, right? And you pay the 15% fee. So imagine if you're a seller of a $3,000 product and you put it on Amazon and then a customer just returns it for no reason. You might not even like ever see that product again. Amazon might just lose it in their warehouse and you just lost $450 for any reason the customer wants to, right? So like large dollar products the brands are disincentivized to actually sell them on Amazon in the first place. And then you're right, there's no one helping them, right? So you could make your page if Amazon okays that your page is good enough to put on their page, but like that's it. You get a little bit of A+ content. Like you can't portray your product in a way that is beneficial to you, especially when it's a high dollar product and people are going to have tons of questions and concerns around the product. And so I don't put Amazon anywhere on my radar. Certainly we've had people who are on the lower end of high ticket products, like right at 1,000, where we have seen competition there, mostly when they're, Amazon's potentially buying the product from the brand and selling it for whatever price they fucking feel like, right? And so people are saying, hey, I can find it cheaper over here kind of thing. But again, I haven't seen the noticeable bump, drop or change in sales on that yet. So I'm yet to be dissuaded from Amazon, or really even big box stores don't do anything for me. It's the people who are out there like actually serving a customer. The competition I can see and like call them and they actually answer their phone and they want to help you solve your problem. Those are the people I'd actually be scared of if I was like trying to compete in a marketplace. It's not the big box stores. It's not the big brands. Heck, I don't even worry about the supplier. And I know you have different feelings about that too, but like, I don't even worry about that part of it. Just there's way too many people trying to buy products and solve problems in this world that no one business can gobble up even, a large fraction of that business.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like, I mean, yeah, most suppliers in this, I mean, I've never seen a niche where somebody was in there and they had 10 brands and like more than one or two of those brands had products available on Amazon anyway. Like most suppliers I've ever come across like explicitly say our products are not allowed to be listed on Amazon or insert this or insert this or insert this. Like that, a lot of suppliers just actually don't even want their products on those places, and they're very proactive about that. So I get when you're on the outside, the competition sounds like a massive, like a massive worry and a massive concern, and it's it's not helped by the crowd that's always around every year saying, "Oh, this doesn't work anymore. That doesn't work anymore. It's too competitive," and blah blah blah. Do this instead. But yeah, I think this shouldn't be certainly if you're sitting there and you're thinking about getting started, and this is one of the things that's kind of in your mind as a reason not to get started, because this can only come up for somebody who hasn't started yet, right? Who's thinking about getting started. This is not something you need to worry about. This is not something, get into Dropship Breakthrough, take our challenge, take our launch program, whatever it is, and I guarantee you, I give you a rolled gold guarantee right now that we will help you find a niche that is not too competitive. And if you can't find one, you can have your money back. Right? Like, I got no problem saying that whatsoever. And I could do that for hundreds of people right now.
Oh, that's why we built the challenge, right? So dropshipbreakthrough.com/challenge. It's $37. We're going to walk you through this whole process so that you can find a niche, a market, an industry that is not too competitive and one that you can feel good about. And hopefully at that point, you're ready to take steps to move forward and actually build that business. But $37, dropshipbreakthrough.com/challenge. No brainer. Thanks for listening to the Dropship Podcast. You can find all the show notes for this episode at dropshippodcast.com. And if you're ready to take the next step in your dropshipping journey, we invite you to join us inside Dropship Breakthrough, where John and I will walk you through step by step in starting your own high-ticket dropshipping e-commerce business. But that's not all. Dropship Breakthrough will also teach you everything you'll need to know to grow your business and take it to the next level. So head over to dropshipbreakthrough.com and sign up for our free training that will help you take the first steps towards building and growing your own profitable high-ticket dropshipping business.